And now, another exciting episode of As the River Churns.
Okay. Wednesday afternoon again, Lisa.
Yes.
It seemed like the weeks seem to be going faster.
It's going really quick. Yes.
I mean, it seems like we were just on last week, and here we are again.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And 2 good weeks in a row.
Yeah.
More good things to talk about today.
More wine to give away. I mean,
more wine.
What things could be better? And for a lot of you today, we're thinking that we might have more people watching today than we probably have ever had before.
Oh, everybody's in anticipation of changes.
Everybody's excited. Everybody's really excited, right?
Yes.
And we are too,
Yes.
We really are.
Absolutely.
And we were scrambling, right, because we had this all figured out as to how we were going to do this, and then the governor came on.
Governor came on, yeah.
So
but it was all good things.
it was good, yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
we'll talk about that in a few
Yep.
minutes. But, well, happy Wednesday afternoon to you all. If you're in watching this, that really is a commitment, because I'll say that, 'cause what is it, about 70 degrees outside
It's
right now?
gorgeous out there.
So, you know, and a lot of you maybe are just recording this to be able to watch it later, right?
I think they are.
It could
yes.
be.
Or you can go to YouTube, right,
Go to
Michelle?
YouTube, right, Michelle?
So it'll be up on there as well.
She'll load that up, that's right.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Yep.
So, all right, well, we know we got a long
We
agenda
do. We have a
today.
lot today.
We have a lot of questions today coming in, which isn't surprising considering we're getting ready to reopen a little bit. So,
Yep.
but there's a lot of information to go over. We'll try and do a little bit more detail. I think last week we kind of were general about what we were going to do,
Yep.
but now we can kind of get into a little bit more specifics about
Right,
where we're going
right.
to be. And so, but first things first, let's go ahead. I know we've got a great trivia question today, right?
We do. And this is a different question.
It's a different question.
It was kind of a collaborative trivia question from multiple people, okay?
So you're saying a lot of residents put this question in.
A lot of residents put this question in.
So they're all going to know the answer to this
They
question.
they may, yes.
So because of that, we're going to have to not go with the first correct response, right?
That's right. Now, Michelle,
she loves
just,
this. She
she
loves
gave
it
you a
when
look.
we don't do the first
okay,
one.
she just gave you a look, and it wasn't a good look.
I know, Michelle, I'll tell you what, we'll let you call the number. What number do you want to call
What number?
caller-wise? And don't say 2. So it got to be higher than 2.
Oh,
5. I like it.
5.
I like it.
Okay. We're convinced that a lot of people are going to know this answer. So we're going with the 5th caller with the right answer is going to be the winner of this wonderful wine. And it's the Cheesecake Factory, the 2014 Merlot. So
Yes.
it's a good prize.
Good prize.
Do not leave a voicemail.
Yeah,
You
that doesn't
only
count.
can get,
Got to keep calling. If you
Keep
get a busy
calling till you get a
signal, if
live
you get
person.
voicemail, hang up and call again.
Yep.
Especially with it being 5th caller, because it could take.
Exactly.
It could cycle through a minute or two of people before we get to the 5th caller. So, all right.
Okay, so the number for Michelle, 336-389-4103. Here's the question. What are the number of muscles that are activated by opening a bottle of wine? What are the number of muscles that are activated by opening a bottle of wine?
So, I would think this answer could vary, though, right? Because if it's a twist cap, that's one thing. But if you're pulling a cork, Lisa, you know, that's not.
You're right. It really could. This is probably the river landing answer. I don't think anybody can Google this one.
Oh no.
Just
All right.
just take a shot at it and just make a guess.
So it's a number
But-
between 1 and 100.
Because you're right. You're right with whether it's a cork, a twist off. You're right. There could be varying.
Could be varying answers,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
All right.
So that's a good point.
Probably means with cork. That would be my
It
thought.
probably
Because
does.
twist off would be, and it's kind of the same muscles, I guess. So
Yeah,
maybe it's not such
yeah.
a big difference, but anyway.
Okay. Good luck, everybody.
Yes. So we'll let you know when when Michelle comes in and says we have a winner at this
Yep.
point. So, all right. Well, let's get into the statistics at this point.
Okay.
And wow, just want to start out by saying, you know, as a county, as a state, even really as a country, we're seeing some really great improvements in our percentages. You know, I still think a lot of that rise was because of the holidays.
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving and Christmas really pushed us up. And so we're starting to see us come down the other side. So that's part of it, we know for sure.
Yep.
But the statistics for this week, and again, we get all of our statistics from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. They have a dashboard that they do. And so we printed it for today and compare it to what we presented on last week. So in the last week, there have been 310,701 completed COVID tests. That's roughly 44,000 tests a day. Out of that 310,000 tests, there have been 20,123 positive cases. That is 6.5%. So just as a comparison, last week we were 7.1. So we have steadily seen this number come down in the last several weeks, which is great. So that's really good news. The other good news is that the hospitalizations have decreased again this week. This week, the current number is 1,530 that are currently hospitalized because of COVID. That's 424 less than last week. So again, another big decline. And get this, I went back and looked at some of the old statistics from just a month ago. Just a month ago, the hospitalizations were 3,740 a month ago.
Wow.
And now they're 1,530. That's 2,210 decrease from what it was just a month ago. So that's amazing, right? That's really amazing. Unfortunately, the deaths continue to occur. We know that. The deaths for North Carolina have crested over the 11,000 mark. We're at 11,074. That's 404 more than last week. And as a country, we crested over that 500,000 mark for deaths in our country too. And so, that's the sad part about all this, and we know that. I mean, this is why I don't quite understand why people don't want to get vaccinated. But there are a lot of people out there that don't want to get vaccinated. But why would you want to take that chance, in my opinion?
Yeah.
So, fortunately for us, that's not an issue. 98% of our residents, 73% of our eligible staff have gotten it in independent living. So, we have really done well as far as vaccinations go. And we got our third vaccination clinic coming up on March 10th. Now, that doesn't matter to most of you, but there was a few residents that got it first one on the last one, and they're going to get their second one. And we're still going to be offering first-time shots for staff members. So we'll see if we can pick up a few more as we get to that March 10th timeframe. But and then just looking at the counties, I like to track the number of cases per 100,000. They give us those statistics on the website for North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. And so I've kind of just been running with this number because I think it's really significant. And it's a rolling average. So each week, each day, it actually rolls for 14 days. It gives you the 14-day average. And so last week, the highest one was for Forsyth County. They had 587 cases per 100,000. This week, they have dropped to 442 from 587. That's huge. That's 145 cases on average. Wake went from 438 to 334. Mecklenburg County went from 501 to 405. And Guilford went from 468 last week to 360 this week. So, go Guilford County, right? We're doing very well, I think, from that perspective. And so that's a really good statistic for us as well. And then when we specifically look at nursing homes and residential care facilities, out of the total almost 850,000 total positive cases that the state has had since the beginning of this COVID outbreak, 49,275 have come from nursing homes and retirement communities. That's 5.8%. At 5.8%, just still running pretty consistent. Unfortunately, out of the 11,074 deaths, 4,881 have come from nursing homes and retirement communities. That's 44.1%, and it just keeps slightly dropping a little bit. There's another piece of really good news. I even put wow on my sheet about this. So the outbreaks, last week we were at, hold on one second, let me look. Last week we were at 672, and that was the first week where we started seeing the number start going back the other way, because we have been steadily increasing. So last week, we dropped by 6 from the week before. This week, we're not at 672, we're at 580. That's 92 less than last week. That is huge. That's a big wow. So really excited about that particular statistic as well. And then the last thing that we report on is the number of vaccinations that have been given in the state. So this week, they're reporting 2,138,275 total doses administered since the start of the vaccinations. That's about 255,000 more vaccinations than where we were last week. And last week we were 250,000 cases, or 250,000 more vaccinations than the week before. So I think that right around that 250,000 seems to be our mark that we're starting to see every week. Well, and hopefully we'll continue to get more vaccination from the federal government that comes to the state, and we'll be able to keep vaccinating folks. And we know that the state now has starting to include the teachers now,
today.
which is really good. I think that's really important that we get the teachers vaccinated up, especially with a lot of the schools returning to in-person learning. That's going to be really important for the future here. So again, I think it's great. We're continuing to move on, and for us here, we also hit another milestone, Lisa, for us here, and that is as of yesterday for our residents. Most of our residents got the second vaccination Tuesday, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And so yesterday, they hit the 2-week mark. And so, we've been told anywhere from 14 to 20 days is roughly the time period when you reach 95% efficacy. So we should be looking pretty good right now.
Pretty good.
So that's pretty exciting. So even when we heard the governor today, we heard that they were very happy with the statistics and the way things are going.
Yes.
And so that's really good. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes, or we can talk about that now, because I think that's next on the list. So, Lisa, you were watching the press conference along with I. What were some of the governor's updates
the biggest things we took from it is the curfew order lifted. That was the 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. because that's only when COVID is out.
Yes.
Remember, that's been taken away now as of Friday. All of this changes as of Friday, we should say.
Right.
The new executive order 195. So there won't be the curfew anymore. Masks are still mandatory, so we felt that was important to say that.
Yeah.
That order is still there.
Let's just be honest. That's probably not going to go away anytime
Probably
soon.
not.
I mean,
Probably not.
They fought hard to get us to a point where we're all wearing masks.
Right.
And so I don't see them changing that.
That might be one of the last things that goes.
Well, we're going to have to really get way under 5%
Yeah.
as a state for them to really kind of start thinking about that again. But we'll see.
But the next two here are really big ones for us.
Yeah, this is the ones that impacted us, right?
The gyms, pools, fitness centers, those are now 50% capacity.
Yeah.
That's raised up from 30%. That's big.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's a
for us.
huge change for us.
Yeah.
Group gatherings, this is also a biggie for us. We were at 10 before.
For indoor.
For indoor, and now it's 25 for indoor and 50 people for outdoor. So that's a huge change as well. And now that weather's getting nicer, it does give us some more opportunities to have some outdoor events, and we can have a few more people at it. So that was good changes for us, and that impacted our reopening statement that we were putting out. So
The reopening statement that we've changed probably six times
we've
in
changed
the
a
last
lot.
3 days.
So I'm glad we hadn't put it out yet. To be honest.
No, it's because it's changed a lot.
It has. It keeps changing.
So we think we have kind of a final version now of the first set of reopening type activities that
I
we're
think
going
we
through.
do.
So,
Yes.
So Lisa, I guess this is the time that probably we need to go ahead and start talking about that.
Let's do it. Yes. Okay.
So before we get there, though, one quick thing. So we haven't talked about testing. We continue to test on a weekly basis our staff over in the healthcare center. And last week we were no positives. As a matter of fact, I just think this is worth repeating. As an organization, last week was the first time we didn't have any positive residents or staff on our testing. So
Across all the communities.
across all the communities. I think we did have
Amazing.
one positive staff member at another community that was not as part of our testing. That was somebody else who came and said that they
Okay.
had been tested outside and were positive, but nobody through our testing was
Okay.
positive. That's the first time that's happened in months. I mean, months. So that's a big deal, and maybe a sign of some changing times.
Absolutely.
And, I really think our vaccinations are going to really start kicking in too. I
Right.
really do think that that's going to be the
Yep.
case. So
I think we're already starting to see that.
yeah,
don't you?
we talked about this, right? Because it's
Yeah,
been
three?
3 weekends in a row that we
Yeah.
haven't been had a lot of people coming to
Right.
us and telling us that
That's a
they've been
big deal.
exposed or whatever.
Right.
So
Yep.
so that's
Yep.
really that's great news, and we're going to hope that continues along that trend.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so we got a lot of questions, Lisa, but I think we thought let's go through the
Yep.
changes
Yep.
first.
Absolutely.
And
then
then
we'll just reiterate some things through the questions. That
We can do
you all
that.
said a lot of great questions. I think it's 13, 14 questions today. So
Yeah, a lot of them we're going to answer when we go
They
through
are,
here. But
they are.
We'll go back to the questions
Yep.
and say, yes, we've answered that one, or no,
Yep.
or there's a nuance to it that we got to answer. But
Yep.
So, and we're going to be really doing this right from what you all are going to end up getting probably later this evening or by tomorrow morning at
Yep.
the latest,
Yep.
which is the memo that we're going to be sending out to all of you. So you don't have to make notes unless you want to, because this will be going out, and we're just going to be kind of really going from this as far as
Absolutely.
talking through all of this. But I know that you all are excited about the changes and want to get there as soon as we do, as soon as we can.
Yep, we're ready.
And we do too.
Yep, we're ready for it too.
Our hands are still tied somewhat by the governor's executive orders, as you all know. I can't get around them. I'm still working to try and get around some of that, but he helped us a lot today by going
He
to
did.
50%
He
on the
did.
wellness center side.
Yep.
So that's going to make it a little easier for us. But so the first thing that we say in the memo that is I think is really important is that, and first of all, we're only dealing with independent living here. The healthcare center residents, the guidelines and regulations that kind of restrict us and what we can do, that comes from the North Carolina Department of Health and
Right.
Human Services.
So that's not up to
We
us.
really
to-
can't get around
Yep.
that. There's
Yep.
very little latitude for us in the visitations and those things. There's not a whole lot of give and take there. But I really do think the good news there is I think that we're going to start seeing some changes even coming about from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. They keep saying they're going to have some new guidelines coming out soon. So I'm hoping they're going to relax some of
That'd be
those restrictions. But that's for the healthcare center residents. So what we're going to talk about today is truly only about independent living residents here at River Landing. And I'll further preface this by saying that corporately, I mentioned this a little bit last week, corporately we are going to be trying to have the communities be more alike in what we're doing as far as the reopening, which is a little bit interesting because I've shared this. We have been very progressive in what we've been allowing residents to do, and our sister communities have not been, and that's not a fault of them or a fault of us, it's just the way things have been. And so our sister communities and our corporate folks, they need to kind of catch up to where we are at this point. That being said, some of the things that we really wanted to do, we're going to have to hold off a little bit longer on until we can get them to catch up to us a little bit.
right.
But we got most of what we wanted.
We did.
And so I'm really pleased. So first things first, though, remember the River Landing bubble. The River Landing bubble. So, what we're going to be talking about is things that we are going to be doing inside our River Landing bubble here. When you go outside of River Landing, all bets are off at that point. You need to be still doing the 3 W's. You need to be wearing your mask. You need to be social distancing. You need to be washing your hands frequently. That's going to be really important for you to do. And I'm not suggesting that you don't do that here. I'm just saying it's going to be more important outside,
Right.
where it's not 98% vaccinated by residents and 73% vaccinated by staff. You got to remember that outside of our River Landing bubble, it's far from that.
Yeah.
So one of these days they'll catch up to us, but right now they're not. So just preface everything by that. Lisa, hallways and common areas.
Okay, so when you step outside your home, whether it's apartment, cottage, whatever it might be, you're wearing your mask.
Right.
Also in common areas, you're wearing your mask. So all that is still important that we're following.
If you're going to the dining room, you need to be wearing your mask when you're going to the dining room. When you're coming back from the dining room, you need to be wearing your masks. So that part has not changed.
Right.
That's also still really part of the governor's order anyway. So we're going to follow that here.
Yep.
But let's talk about dining, because I
Okay.
think dining's going to be really
This is
exciting.
the fun part.
Go ahead.
This is, okay.
Tell them some good news,
Okay.
Lisa.
So seating, of course, we still have to follow the governor's order. So you will see our dining venues, we're still following that. But now the big news is residents can eat with other residents outside their households up to 6 people per table. And I know a lot of you have been wanting that. So that, I think, that's one of the hugest things, I
It's
think.
huge.
And remember, this all starts on Monday, so this isn't as of today, it's Monday. The bistro, another biggie, dine-in will be available.
Yes.
First come, first served, of course. You know, it's limited seating, so you won't see all of our tables and chairs out, but you'll see what we safely can have out for right now. So hopefully you will luck out and get a seat in there.
I don't know about you, but I've been so excited about this one, because we really haven't had a chance to be able to open up the bistro other than through people walking through. So
Right.
having people now being able to be on the seating side of the
Exactly.
bistro is going to be
Exactly.
really
It
exciting
is.
again. So
And I would say just, expect it'll be a little busy next week.
Yeah, it
We're
might
all
be.
excited for it. So just be patient with everybody. A lot of our residents here have not experienced this.
Yeah.
This is new. So it's exciting and,
we need to probably share also, it's still only 50% at this point, the
Right.
capacity. So please, no sitting on each other's laps, no 2 people sharing a chair. I mean, we can't do that yet, okay?
Oh.
So I know that everybody's excited about that,
Yep.
but we need to make sure we keep that
yep,
that way.
absolutely. The Deep River Coffee and Creamery, that dining area will open up as well. So I think that's exciting. You can go
Yes.
down there and eat some ice cream, have a coffee, pastries, whatever it might be. But we used to like seeing residents enjoying that. So that will be a nice addition. Okay, the Hilltop Pub. Okay, we all
Yes.
like the pub.
Yes, we do.
So you may go up there for a drink before or after meals, or you may pop in for a drink. So that's exciting too.
Yes, it is.
As seating is available, you have to remember, some of that area we still have to use for dining due to the capacity of numbers. But there'll be more opportunities for times to be able to do that. And we're also bringing back out the bar stools.
Bringing out the bar
So
stools.
that's happening too.
We might even clean them for you. I mean, this
I
is
don't-
really exciting.
I don't know if we ever had them used yet. So they probably are still brand new.
Oh, I'm sure they
Because I think
are.
we pulled them out right away.
They weren't used very much, let's put it that way.
They were not. So that's exciting. Reservations, we talked a little bit about this last week. Reservations for lunch are not going to be needed, but brunch time. So when we have brunch here on Sundays from that 11 to 2 in the Water's Edge and the clubhouse, we are still going to need reservations for that time. But any other day, you're good. No reservations for lunch. You will, look at this, you'll need reservations from 4 o'clock on. So 4 p.m. on, reservations are going to be required. That just helps us maintain that capacity limit, the 50%.
Yeah.
A lot of folks like to come right at the same time, which we can't manage it like that, like any restaurant that takes reservations.
Right.
They do it for quality. They do it so they can serve people in an efficient manner. There's a lot of reasons why we do reservations. It really provides a better service.
Yeah. And even when we get to 100% as far as capacity, we're just too big to not require reservations for dinner. So those of you thinking that this is just a COVID thing, it's not. We knew all along that we were probably going to end up having to do reservations for our restaurants for the evening meals. So that's just the way it is. The brunch is the same way.
Right,
We
right.
just can't get around that.
No.
You know what? When we get to 100% capacity and we see how it's going, if there's some maneuvering we can do there, we'll try our best. But
Yep.
right now we're just too big to be able to have people just walk into restaurants
Yep.
for dinner and
Yep,
for
yep,
brunch.
absolutely.
So
You can still place the takeout orders for Water's Edge and the Bistro, and the pickup area is still the Coffee Creamery. You can also call in for pickup from the clubhouse as well. So all of that's still in place. No changes there. So I think some really good changes in our dining program that will offer.
So you all excited?
A lot of
Are you all
excitement.
excited? Let me hear you out there.
Yes.
Everybody yell.
Woo! Okay, we heard it.
We heard it, yeah.
Yep.
Collectively, we heard it, so.
Okay, wellness. Like we said, this was a biggie today
Yeah, it
because the
was.
governor bumped us up to 50%, and that's
Yes.
significant. Because we have a large wellness space, so that really does increase our numbers for us to safely provide space for that. So we'll resume outside classes, outside vaccinated instructors will start coming in. You're going to see more of that, more class opportunities, all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
that's
You
going
know,
to be
and
starting.
let me point out again, this is one of the beauties of getting, having some of that extra vaccine that we had, because we were able to get our instructors all vaccinated. So all of our outside instructors that are going to be coming in, they're all vaccinated as
Right,
well.
right.
So, you know, I just think
that
that's
was
just,
good.
and adds an extra layer of protection there that's going to be really good. So,
Yep.
so yeah, that'll be exciting.
Just as a note, the game room, we're going to still keep that closed at this point.
Yeah, we're not ready for that yet.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
At some point we will be, but right
Yeah.
now we're not
Absolutely.
ready for that yet.
Housekeeping, we mentioned last week that we have been requiring residents to not be in the home or to be in a certain area, but now we're suggesting that you still maintain that, but we're not requiring it anymore that you leave the home. We're suggesting that you do.
Yeah, but
That's a change.
But if you are a resident and you are staying, you need to be wearing your mask and you need to be social distancing from our staff. And so, our preference still would be for you to leave the home because it's safer for you, it's safer for our staff. But, if you absolutely insist on staying in your home, that's fine. I still would prefer you to be staying in one room as opposed to being out in the areas that the staff are working. But, if you want to do that, that's fine. But you need to be wearing a mask. Our staff are going to be wearing masks and gloves, and we just need to be safe about that. So.
Marketing and sales, so we're going to continue with our limited tours.
Yeah,
and
that's
yep.
kind of been ongoing. We've been
Yep.
doing a limited tours with our prospects that are coming in, so that's not really going to change
Nope.
that much. And just as a reminder, we want you to know, prospects coming in are not eating in our dining rooms, they're not using our amenities at this point. So this is really just more of a tour situation and just talking to prospects about what their desires are and where they, when they want to move in and what they're looking for and, all that kind of good
Right.
stuff, so.
Another benefit of the vaccination is that new residents moving in, if they've been fully vaccinated, just like we all have been, then they will not have to do that quarantine anymore because at that point, they're no different than us.
No, they aren't.
So,
They aren't any different than the
no,
rest
they've
of
had the
us.
same protection.
That's right.
So I think that's a great thing too.
It probably goes without saying, but if a resident moves in that hasn't been vaccinated, they will have to do some sort of
Right.
modified
Right.
quarantine at this
Yep.
point, so.
Okay, resident services, so.
Yes, we're disbanding resident services. There will not be any more. Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy's in the room. I just felt the need to have to say that. I don't know why I had to say that.
Oh.
I just felt like I needed to.
So once again, we'll do activities with, keeping in mind the safe numbers that we can do. Also social distancing and masks, all that will be required in activities as well.
Right.
So, let's see. And we're still going to continue with the no catering for events, Tom.
Yeah.
That's part of it as well.
Yeah, not yet. We're not ready for
Yep,
this. We
yep.
got to do this in small bites. How do you like that one? No catering, small bites? I know, it was really bad. I'm sorry, Ken's not here. We told Ken not to show up today, right?
We
We
did.
figured it was going to be really long.
We
just
told
thought
him
we were
he
gonna do
just
this,
wouldn't
and-
have much time.
And, Ken, he needs a little bit of time to
He
be.
does.
He's
He
very
does.
funny, and he's, we're doing our best to try and fill in.
That's
but
right.
it's just not
That's
that
right.
great a fill in.
No.
So, anyway.
The clinic, the River Landing Clinic here.
Well, wait a
So-
minute, before you get out of resident services.
Yes.
I think the cool thing is with the governor's order now about going to 25, Lisa, we can start doing some things that we weren't able to do before. And I kind of think, we kind of said it very loosely here, but, let's just give them some examples of some things that we might be able to do. We could start maybe utilizing the multipurpose room for smaller events.
Right,
maybe-
Enlighten classes.
Enlighten classes. would
Referral
be a great-
classes.
Referral classes, potentially. I mean, we
The
could be
men's
doing
group.
some things. Thank you. I think it's just good to kind of give them
Yep,
some feel for, some things that we think that we're going to be able to
Right,
do.
absolutely.
And some of this stuff we'll be able to have live audience participation, and we still might be broadcasting so that residents
Right.
outside can see
Right,
it.
right.
So it's not like somebody, just because you don't get into an activity doesn't mean that you may
Right.
not be able to see it.
Yeah.
But, we're going to be kind of taking now the new information from the governor and kind of reworking our activity schedule and seeing what we can do. And I know Brian and Cindy and Destiny are very excited about the changes because it's going to start opening up some things and opening up the use of some of the rooms. I walked in this morning or this afternoon when we were getting ready to do the show, and I see that sign out there that says, no NPR activity, or no activities allowed, or whatever it says about the NPR, about no activities. I said, going, won't it be nice to be able to take that stupid sign out of there and actually
Yes.
start putting a calendar back in again,
Yes.
at least of some activities that we can
Yep.
do. So,
Yep.
okay, enough said. I just thought it might be good to kind of get
Sure.
into a little bit of some of the resident services stuff.
So be watching for your March and Compass. That will have everything that we're doing. So very exciting. The River Landing Clinic. So no real protocols have changed there. Just as a reminder, the appointments are still required. That's something that we've had for a while now, and we're going to continue with that. That wasn't just a pandemic thing that we asked for appointments. So this includes even if you're coming for daily wound care, blood pressure checks, allergy shots, all of that, you do need to call and have an appointment.
Well,
Even if,
Look, I go to the doctor. I can't just show up at the doctor's office.
Right.
I have to have an appointment to go.
Right.
So,
It's the
it's no
same.
different here.
Right.
This is the same thing, and it's only fair to the clinic staff
Yep.
that you call up. Now, it might be that you call up and they say, come on up, we can take you right away. Or they might say, can you come later this afternoon because we'll have an opening around 2 o'clock.
Right.
But, please be fair with them, because, we just can't have 10 residents show up and say,
Right.
they come walking in saying, and then they get mad because we can't
because they
see
have to
them right away.
wait.
And so
So
that's
we
not
can't
fair
manage
to our
that.
staff down there.
No.
So please understand that this is just like the doctor's office
Mm-hmm.
anymore, and you need to call up and ask. And I promise you that they'll do everything they can to get
Yep.
you in.
Yep. And if it's something you need on that day, they will work you in.
They will
So
work you
that's,
in.
they're not going to say, come back the next day. They will work you in if the need is on the same day.
That's right.
Yep. Beauty salon, so opening back up,
Yes.
regular operating schedules, so you'll start to get calls from your beauticians, I'm sure, or call your beautician, whichever way you have it worked out. And the manicurist and pedicurist and all that, she's back, Charlotte Wesson. So nail technician is back, so you can start making appointments for that as well.
So bring your hammers.
So all that's exciting. The gift shop. We've been very limited on how many people can actually go in the gift shop.
Yes.
We're able now to raise it to 4 shoppers at a time.
4 shoppers. Holy
Yes.
smokes.
So that's,
There might be a line at the
great.
register now.
there might be, so now it's possible, 4 shoppers. You don't have to just have one person in there and somebody waits at the door. So 4 people now.
Wow.
So go check it
Now,
out.
does that
Lots of great
include the
things.
person that's in there or not? Or is
No,
it
it's
4
4 shoppers plus the person working.
So that could be 5.
So it's really 5 people. Wow. That's big.
You can't get too many more than 5 in there anyway.
That is a safe number right there, we think.
Okay. That's awesome, though.
Okay, next biggie, visitation.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
we've
think
had,
we've had more consternation
oh my
about this
gosh.
subject area than any of them.
between
right?
this and dining,
Yeah.
the visitation, we know is a big deal.
Yeah.
Trust me, we know.
Well,
So-
and let me preface this by saying that this is one of those areas I was sharing earlier about getting our sister facilities up to speed with us. We have been the only one that's really had this policy of the 2 visitors at this point. A lot of communities aren't even allowing visitors, and so getting them to go higher than 2 was a little bit of a battle, I kind of honestly, that I had to go through to be able to try and get that done. So go ahead, tell them the news, Lisa.
Okay, so you may have up to, drum roll, 4 visitors per day.
Yay!
Woo! So that's a big deal. Like Tom said, that really is a big deal.
Yeah.
So 4, up to 4. Now, one other big thing, Cindy and I both have had a lot of emails and a lot of calls about this one. Unfortunately, we can't start overnight guests yet,
Yeah.
okay?
I fought for that
That's-
one too.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not there yet.
Not quite there yet, but coming soon.
I put in a good bid for it today, and because we had a phone call about this today, and we were trying to make changes today based upon some of that stuff. And so they're just not a comfort level with that yet. So
Not yet. And we understand it. I mean, trust me, I know that we have people saying, okay, so we can visit with our family for hours, but they can't stay overnight.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah,
Trust me. We understand it.
Yeah,
So
we do.
we're just not there.
And we'll keep fighting for that
Yeah.
one. And,
Yeah.
that might not be one of those things where we have to wait until the beginning of a month to be able to start something. If we can kind of get that loosened up a little bit, as soon as
Yep.
we can start that, we will start that, and we'll let you know. But right now, unfortunately, we're still saying no overnight guests.
Yep. Residents still need to contact the gatehouse, so let them know that your visitors are coming in. None of that's changed, and that's going really well, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Visitors will continue to be screened and temp checked, so all that's still in place.
Yep.
Let's see.
But if the visitors are able to show that they, excuse me, oh my goodness, if they've had the
Vaccination.
vaccinations and are past that 16 to 20-day window, if they can show proof of that to
Show their card to us.
the
Yep.
guardhouse, then it would be a limited screening
Right,
then at that
right.
point. So, and
So
just
that's a
being
benefit.
very honest about it, the big thing that's going to be asked of them is more symptomatic type questions in regards to that day and how they are feeling. And so
Right,
that'll be the
right.
main question that they'll have if they've been vaccinated.
Right.
If they haven't been vaccinated, then
Yeah,
the standard
it's a
screening
full-
questions will still be in place for the most part.
Same thing where visitors still must go directly to your homes. We have not changed that at all.
Yeah.
Not to use any of our amenities. That includes the pool, the wellness, the dining, all that good stuff. So all that's still in place. No amenities yet.
Yeah, and, even unnecessary walks down the hallways, we really are trying to keep visitors out of the hallways. We know that they have to go to a hallway to maybe get to your apartment, and that's understandable, or use an elevator to get to your apartment if you're living inside. But let's just keep it limited to that. No walking to go down and take a look at what the wellness center looks like, or, those kinds of things. We're not ready for that yet.
Yep.
So please
Yep.
make sure your visitors are staying in your homes at this point.
Yep. And masks and social distancing, that's still the recommendation with visitors.
It
So
is.
we've been saying that all along. So
Yeah,
nothing, no real changes there.
yeah, we're pretty sure that probably isn't followed all the way through for people, but we still recommend that
We
you do
still
that.
recommend it.
Yeah.
Yep. And outdoor walks, that's probably still good too. Outdoor
Absolutely.
visits, that's still
And with the day like today, if we start
Yeah.
getting this kind of weather, it's
Yeah.
going to be more,
That's-
people are going to want to be
absolutely.
outside more often.
Yep. Okay, resident travel. We've had a lot of questions related
Oh,
to travel.
wait a minute, you didn't mention about the age restriction for visitors,
Oh,
did you?
no, I didn't. Why don't you go ahead, Tom?
Okay. So, up to this point, we've had that the visitors had to be 5 years of age or older, and so that requirement has gone away as well.
Yes.
So
Yep.
your 4 visitors can be of any age, from newborn all the way up to 126. So
And we know that's a biggie for grandkids.
it is.
So,
We knew that was a big deal
Yeah.
for grandkids. So we wanted to make sure that got approved along with the 4 visitors, because we felt like that was a big deal. So.
okay, resident travel.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't travel. It makes life a lot easier if you don't.
So if you're traveling,
Cindy would appreciate you not traveling at this point.
if you're traveling outside the local area, we're not talking little trips here and there. We're talking if you're doing travel, which we all used to enjoy,
Yeah.
traveling. Run those plans past Cindy.
Yeah.
There are some circumstances that just probably aren't the safest yet to be doing, so that's why please run all travel plans outside the local area past Cindy, and she'll help you with
Yeah,
protocols.
I think we mentioned this last week. If you're heading down to the beach, to your beach house, or you have a mountain home or whatever, it's not going to end up
It's
being
not
a
those
big
kind of
deal.
trips that we're worried about.
But if you're flying to Florida and then you're taking a cruise across, whatever, then, there might be some issues with that we need to discuss with you.
International travel.
Yeah, international
I mean,
travels, especially if you're going to an area where the variant
Absolutely.
rate is high.
Absolutely.
So just, like we said, clear this through Cindy.
Yep.
She's kind of the gatekeeper of this, and she'll help you through that. And believe me when I say this, we want to be able to say yes to you traveling, and we want to be able to say yes that you don't have to quarantine. But there could be some extenuating circumstances that will.
Sure.
So I think we're going to be able to say yes to most of that most of the time. So just so you know that.
Yep. So COVID-19 exposures.
Yes.
So residents who've been vaccinated, fully vaccinated, so that would be, as of yesterday, our residents, most of our residents were fully vaccinated.
Yep.
And the CDC is saying, if you've been fully vaccinated and you've been exposed to someone that's been COVID positive, you will not be required to quarantine anymore. So that's huge for us right there.
It is huge.
Now, you still would want to monitor for symptoms.
Yeah,
Because we do know,
that's important.
I mean, we're not 100% vaccinated. So we do know there's that little percentage there. So you still would want to monitor for symptoms.
Yeah, we keep hearing that, you could have up to 95% efficacy from the vaccinations. And so what's that other 5% represent? Well, the 95% means that 95% chance that you're going to be, that you're not going to get a virus even if you're exposed to somebody.
Right.
At the 5% is that you could get the virus, but your symptoms would be a lot less than what they would be if you were not vaccinated.
Absolutely.
That's that 5%. So that's where the symptom monitoring really comes in to play. And so, if you're exhibiting symptoms, let Cindy know so she can kind of help guide you through that a little bit. And, we can still try and test you at that point and kind of help you get tested or whatever the case may be to kind of see where you are at that point. But the nice thing is we shouldn't, unless you're symptomatic, we shouldn't be asking you to quarantine at this point.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's huge.
None of us want to quarantine. You all know this. I went through this. Just my timing really stunk because that was right before right as I was getting the second shot, and if it had been 2 weeks later, I wouldn't even have had to worry about quarantining. But maybe the good Lord had it so that I could feel what that was like, and so. I don't like quarantining any more than anybody else does, so that was not fun.
Now you know firsthand, so you've experienced it.
There's a lot of challenges when you're quarantining.
Absolutely.
Yes. So.
If you have had a COVID-19 exposure, we still would like to know that. So that's something that, if you have been exposed to someone that's positive.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to call us, because we're not really going to do anything about it other than just kind of help keep an eye on it for you.
Absolutely. So.
We're not going to ask you to quarantine.
No.
So. Unless you're symptomatic.
Whew.
We did it, Lisa.
We did. That's a lot of stuff. And this is just first steps, right? We have to remember.
First steps.
We're not 100% open on everything yet. This is first steps.
And you might ask, well, when are we going to be considering next steps at this point? Well, I think that's a hard question to answer. Part of it is, I think that we have in our minds that as of April 1st, we might be able to do some more things.
Sure.
We've got a couple nuances that we want to do as of April 1st. But some of the stuff, if we can get past it, like let's just say the governor comes back in 2 weeks and says, hey, we're going to go to 75% on the restaurants.
Right.
Well, we're not going to wait till April 1st to do that. We'll jump in and start doing that right away, or as soon as we possibly can after that. So some stuff, I think, as it changes, we can let you know and we can move forward. Other things might have to be planned out a little bit, so we might do that as an April 1st or May 1st type rollout. But, the only thing that we all need to keep in mind and keep praying for is these variants. That, to me, the governor said it today, or Mandy Cohen said it today. That is truly the wild card that's out there that we just don't know about. And so I think we're all hoping that doesn't have any major impact on the vaccinations that we've had and how we're moving forward as a community. But, I will tell you, I would much rather go ahead and start loosening up at this point, knowing that there's a possibility that down the road we might have to pull back a little bit. I'd rather go that way and let you all start having some freedom to be able to do more things with the knowledge that we might have to pull back, as opposed to just playing it really safe right now and keeping you at the level you're at in case there's some problems with variants. I'd rather do it that way. I'd rather kind of, I think for our mental health of our residents and for others, we need to keep moving forward. And we just need to be hoping and praying the variants don't end up really presenting a problem to us at this point. So, all right.
Okay.
So, Lisa, if we thought we had a lot of questions to answer this time, we're probably going to get a lot more
we
for
probably
next week.
are.
And that's okay. Send them.
That's okay.
Send them. Now, but we got some questions that I think
we do. Before we go to questions, I think there's one more thing that we wanted to mention.
Yeah, so let me talk about that, because I think this is really cool. So, and we're going to be putting a notice out in boxes for everybody about this, but we have a very benevolent resident who is very interested and very behind our staff assistance fund. You all might remember the residents actually created this staff assistance fund for staff members who are having issues with COVID. Maybe a spouse that loses their job because of COVID, or they may not be able to work a second job because of COVID, or and they were having some pressures that meeting some of the expenses that they have. So this staff assistance fund was created, and it was created at all of our communities actually, not just at River Landing. And residents were very generous with that, to the tune of about $23,000, I think, was initially raised for this. And we've spent almost 20 of that 23 already helping out staff members who have been very appreciative of that. So we have this very benevolent resident who recognizes that we're getting close to the end of that first pool of money and is actually wanting to do a challenge gift of $15,000 towards trying to refund the staff assistance program. So that's really awesome and great. And so I hope that you all would at least consider this as part of the planning for this and helping our staff out who are still having COVID financial issues from how COVID has hit them. So I do also want to say, we do from time to time have, different things that we are asking residents for money for,
Right.
Whether it be Employee Appreciation Fund, the annual appeal, those kinds of things. I do want to kind of say, there is no obligation for residents to have to give to any of these funds. This is all, if you feel passionate about one of the different things that we have, then we would love for you to be a part of that and support that. But you do not, there's not an expectation level from us that you participate in any or all of the different things that are there. So, I just think it's important to be able to share that. That we are always very appreciative of residents wanting to, they have their pet projects that they want to contribute money towards, whether it be fundraising for the meal packaging events or whatever, like some of the other ones I was mentioning. And we love that when residents want to be able to support that, but there is no obligation for you all. You just need to hear that there's no obligation to be able to do any of that, and that's totally up to you. So. But thank you so much to our benevolent resident.
Yeah, that's amazing.
For doing this challenge gift for the $15,000. I think it's going to be money well spent for our staff members who really are finding themselves in financial straits because of the COVID situation. So thank you for that. Okay, Lisa, questions.
Okay, questions. Let's see. When can we visit our friends in healthcare since we've been vaccinated? Have the regulations changed yet? So, Tom, you kind of touched on that already, that we are waiting on some regulation changes.
Yeah.
Still visitation at this point is compassionate care visits.
Yes.
We have things like that. So if you're a spouse here, that's something you definitely want to follow up with household coordinators and work out compassionate care visits. So it's starting to...
Well, and I think this will also start changing more because our residents in the healthcare center are vaccinated just like the residents in the independent living are. So
we're all the best.
I think, especially with the spouses visiting spouses, I think that we're going to have an opportunity to be able to really kind of move forward with this and have some opportunity for that. So, all right.
So if we get that,
we're live on the show.
you'll answer it when I'm...
Okay. I'll answer later. Thank you.
On March 1st in the bistro, will the salad bar and hot bar be available again? So this question was as of March 1st. So not yet. The salad bar and the hot bar area will not be available yet. So that's coming soon. Coming soon.
That'll be one of those things that when we can add it on, we will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. But we're starting out in pieces, remember. We're doing measured steps. So.
That's right.
I understand Monday Night Fried Chicken was a big hit. Will fried chicken ever return again? Sure, it will return again. But it won't be a Monday night special at this point because we haven't opened up the hot bars yet. So we'll talk more on that as we get closer to time to open up our hot bar and some other things. So, but we know you love fried chicken. We do get that. That was a big hit for us.
I'm a big fried chicken fan, so we'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah. Since we don't have to make reservations at lunchtime, does that mean we could be seated with other people? I always thought it was one of the best practices at River Landing so we could get to know each other. I hope we can do this. So absolutely, that's one of the best questions I think that we got today.
That's important.
That is very important. So you're right, no reservations at lunchtime. And as you come in, if you don't feel comfortable sitting with other people, because we do understand that, not everybody's at the same level of comfort yet.
That's right.
You would just say, I want to sit by myself today, or maybe you're a couple, the two of us just want to eat together, and that is fine. You just tell the hostess that as you come in. But others, like before, we will go ahead and seat you with other people.
I can seat you.
So yes, you can plan on that. That great practice will come back again. But like I said, if you're not comfortable, just tell the hostess that. We would never force anybody to sit with someone. So, great question. I know we have to make reservations in the restaurant for evening meals. I am single and would like to have the option to eat with others and not have to find people to dine with me. Could we have some tables available for people like me who want to come and just join a table with others that may be singles as well? So Joseph and his team, they're going to work on that as well.
Yeah.
To be able to have areas that single folks could just come in, make reservations, and be able to dine with others. So just know that that's going to be a work in progress as well. So we hear you. People like to be able to meet other people, meet new people.
Yeah, it's kind of like a family table, right?
Yep, absolutely. And that's what we had designed in the Water's Edge.
Yeah.
We have that nice big long table. So we're going to work with that. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's something we can get to.
Yep, that's doable. Okay, after March 1st, and we are fully vaccinated. 1, can we visit with other residents in their homes? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can we invite other residents over to have a meal in our home? What do you think about that, Tom?
So Cindy and Lisa and I were having this discussion right before we came down here, and I went, what? We're going to let residents have meals with other residents in their homes? And they said, well, how's that any different in the dining room? And I went,
Good
well,
point.
yeah, you're right. Okay, I guess we will.
Oh, but we may have to sample? Is that what you
Well,
suggested?
yeah, I was saying that, you might have to have a test case where you have to invite the associate director and executive director to your home and let us sample some of the food. And
Before you would want to
before you would-
expose another
yes,
resident to it.
I think that is only fair.
It's
don't you
safety
think
and
so?
quality control. So we get that.
But yes, the answer is yes, you can do that.
Yes. Okay, can I still get the virus even after I am fully vaccinated? And we touched on that.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a small chance that you could. Symptoms should not be as life-threatening, though, as what they can be
Well, we keep
when you're not
hearing that.
vaccinated.
Even
So-
before we got fully vaccinated, we were hearing residents that went out to the hospital that
Right.
were being told by the hospital staff that because they were vaccinated, they didn't get the full amount of symptoms that they
Right,
could have had.
right,
So-
absolutely.
So it's still a chance.
It
But
is,
the
it
symptoms
is.
should be a lot milder even if you do get it.
Yep. Okay, is it possible that I can still carry the virus and transmit it to others? I ask this because I am friends with someone that decided not to get the vaccine at River Landing. So yes, it is possible. So to answer that. So it's very important for non-vaccinated people to be aware of that as well, and really they just need to be a little more cautious of things, I
Yeah.
think.
The hard part here is, and we would never do this, but, we do have, it's not a lot, but we have maybe a little bit more than a handful of residents
We
that,
do.
for
We
whatever
do.
reason, have
Yeah.
chosen not to get the
That's right.
vaccinations. And honestly, the impetus is a little bit on them to make sure that they are protecting themselves. It's
Right,
not really
right.
fair to expect the other residents to be able to kind of be watching out for them, unless they know it. I mean, in this case,
Sure.
it's a friend, and I
Yes,
get it.
and this friend is going to be very cautious
Yeah.
with their friends. So
Yeah.
I get that. And, we've had residents ask, can you just put a sticker on us telling us who's vaccinated and not?
Yeah.
And we can't do things like that. That really can alienate people and really kind of goes back to the HIPAA of violations.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm just going to be honest, with 98% of our residents getting it,
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't really prove anything. It wouldn't
No.
prove fruitful at
No,
all. for
I don't
that.
think so.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Any news about the repair of the Pinehurst elevator?
Yeah, I know you're all frustrated by how long it's taking. Quite honestly, we are too.
Yeah.
We call every week
We
about
get
the
weekly
Pinehurst
updates,
elevator.
yes.
And their biggest issue with the people that are going to repair it for us is they cannot get the parts right now to be able to fix the elevator. So it's not that they're not making them anymore. It's just COVID has hit some of these manufacturing places.
Right.
They can't get all the parts, and they don't want to start the repair until they have all of the replacement parts. So we're a little bit at their mercy at this point.
Right,
So I know it's an inconvenience not to have the Pinehurst elevator. We get that. I promise you that we're not slowing this process down. It's just a matter of getting the replacement parts and getting it fixed. And as soon as that can possibly be done, it'll be done because we want that elevator back in operation.
Yep.
So sorry about that.
And we've addressed this one. Why do I have to make an appointment in the clinic? And we've talked about how it makes it more efficient for you. You don't have as long of wait, all of that good stuff. So I think we've made a good,
Yeah, I think we talked about that one
yeah.
already.
Let's see, is the protocol just because of the pandemic? No. That's just good practices. And just like any doctor's office, you don't just walk in.
Yeah,
You make appointments.
We just can't do that.
Yep. Okay. Now that I'm vaccinated, I want to book an international cruise. Once
Talk to
again,
Cindy.
call Cindy.
Call
Okay?
Cindy.
Call Cindy. She will help you through that. Personally, I don't know if an international cruise would be your first travel choice right now, but talk to Cindy about it and kind of walk through what your plans are.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. I choose not to have the vaccine. Will I have to quarantine if I'm exposed to someone who has tested positive or if I travel?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, unfortunately,
per the CDC guidelines, people that are not quarantined would follow that quarantine protocol.
this is the benefit of getting the vaccinations,
Right.
so that you don't have to do this. And and I'm not trying to, believe me, I'm not trying to put down the people that didn't. There's some people that had some really good reasons why not to
Absolutely.
get the vaccine.
Absolutely.
And that's totally a decision they have to make, but unfortunately, that also means that they have to be held to a different standard than those that have been
Right,
vaccinated.
right.
And
Yeah.
we just can't, we're not going to go around that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Will the Wayfarer, which is our international restaurant, our specialty restaurant, open on March 1st? Unfortunately, not yet. So that's a work in progress. So we will get there. So I'm going to say coming soon. Okay. We've already addressed this one. No overnight guests at this point. We will work on that one as well. Let's see. 2 more questions. Will the number of visitors change from only having 2? And yes, that's 4 now, up to 4. Let's see. This was an interesting one. Some folks, I think, still have some misconceptions of where we can go here on campus and off campus, but are there any restrictions about going outdoors on campus?
Yes, you must be wearing clothes. That's the biggest restriction I have, that you have to be wearing clothes when you go outside.
Kind of like store shoes and clothes are required?
Kind of,
Okay.
yes.
It's the
yeah.
same kind of thing.
So,
But going outdoors is good. I think we all know that. Being outside is probably one of your safest places.
yeah. and
So absolutely.
besides being great for your mental health as
Yes.
well, I mean, it's
Yes.
important.
Yep.
We have a lot of residents that like to walk around here.
Yes.
I dare say I didn't go outside to get a chance to look today, but I bet there was a lot of residents walking today.
I bet there was. So, but absolutely, outdoors, that's a great thing. Okay, let's see. We're coming up on the hour, aren't we, Tom?
Yeah, we're already past our hour.
Yeah.
So
So
why don't we just do birthdays and trivia, and then
We'll wrap
end
it up.
there. Yeah.
Sounds good. So birthdays, Tuesday was Howie Zeifel. Today is Jack Wares. Thursday, Leah Edgerton and Helen Shields. Saturday, Joan Tillis and Dennis Kennard. Sunday, Dot Byerly. So great birthdays.
Happy birthday to all of you.
For our staff, Monday we had Elise
Capriglione.
Capriglione.
I'm going to help her a little bit because, not that I'm not any better with the pronunciation, but there's a couple of them today that are really kind of a little
There
tough.
is.
So.
Tuesday was Tayaba Athar,
That's
nursing.
right. Good, yeah.
Wednesday, today,
Yes.
Hayden Fawcett in
Hayden.
dining, in the
Yes.
bistro, and Kimberly Handy in nursing. On Friday, we have Mariah Carrico in dining, Andrew Lovett in EVS.
Andrew.
Saturday, we have Keith Brummett in maintenance, and Sunday is Brenda Birchfield in nursing.
Awesome.
So, great birthdays.
It's a nice group of people there.
Yes,
Happy birthday to
great,
all of you.
great group. Okay, so the question today, what are the number of muscles that are activated by opening a bottle of wine? The answer is 14.
14.
Who knew? Who knew? Okay, so the winner today is Sue Brim. Congratulations. You will get this bottle of wine.
Congratulations, Sue.
That was,
So
that was a great
Michelle,
question.
how long did it take you to get to the fifth caller?
It didn't take that long to get the fifth caller. It just took, I couldn't get back in here to tell you we had a winner because the phone.
So Michelle had a lot of callers.
Yeah.
A lot of callers. We know. Yeah, we kind of thought that would be a popular one, so.
We should have picked the 26th caller, I
Oh,
think.
my goodness.
Also, people were answering nine.
9.
Oh, people also entered 9,
That must be the twist.
maybe. Because we did say there could be different muscles depending on what kind of bottle.
Could
So,
be.
okay.
Now, do we know, have we fact-checked the 14? Do we know that for
Okay, so
sure?
next week, the River Churns, the River Churns will be on Wednesday.
All right, for you all that said 9, you can take this up with, with Lisa.
Sorry. But the majority answered 14, so I'm going to go with 14 was the correct answer. Majority rules. Majority rules. Okay. Oh, another great show, Tom.
Yes.
Yes, good
Thank
news.
you all for sticking with us for a little bit more than an hour today. A lot of information, a lot of really great information.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I think there's going to be a lot of excitement for residents for next week when we start this. So,
Right, absolutely.
So if you got more questions, send them to us,
Mm-hmm.
and we can. If it's something really important that we have to answer now, we'd be
Right.
glad to answer it before we get to the show next week.
Right,
But we might
right.
still use it on the show because
'Cause other
honestly,
people
we
might
we might have a lot of questions. about this.
Absolutely.
And,
Questions are
there's a
great.
possibility that I'm sure there is, that we might have missed an area or two.
Sure,
That
sure.
someone might say, hey, well, what about this? You didn't
Yep,
say anything about
yep.
that.
It's a
So
work in progress.
send them to us, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. But we love you all very much. We're very excited. I can tell you that this has been a really good week for us as we've been having a lot of fun, start talking about reopening. Because we've been
Yes.
talking about shutting down and staying
Yes,
closed
restrictions.
for so long.
And, yes.
We know you all are tired of that, and the mental health of our residents has really been hard the last several months
Right.
as we've been going through this. But I think things are really looking up, not just here at River Landing, but across the county, across the state, even across our country. We're starting to see those numbers drop, and so let's just hope and pray we continue to go along that. And I think if we can keep going down, Governor's going to release more and more,
Absolutely.
and then
Yep.
we're going to be back to what I'm hoping to be more normal operations.
right.
So we're going to get there. Just bear with us.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
all right. With all that being said, we love you. Have a great day. Go out and take a walk. Enjoy yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoy the weather.